mind if I add something about detainment? As a civilian, detaining and arresting is the exact same thing.
Exactly.
For law enforcement, detaining and arresting is different because legally they could handcuff you and question without having to witness a felony.
Yes.
And that's why it's different for us. We see somebody, standing by a car that's got his window bashed out. We could suspicious, activity, assume, possibly, identify this person might have broken into this vehicle. But you can't detain them, though. But we cannot detain unless you've witnessed it. Right. But even then, maybe broke into his own car.
So it basically applies to everything out here. If you see them with the weed, that's one thing we've seen them. But if they've dropped it before we saw them and they're just walking, basically we can't do anything to them.
Yeah, if we didn't witness them drop it.
So that's pretty clear cut.
But it it does also state that a reasonable person would have reasonable suspicion. So if we see them and they're 20 feet away or 20 yards away and they're you can tell they're bailing. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But at that point, it becomes a safety issue for you.
Yeah.
Is it really worth chasing after them?
Right.
You already have what they were trying to bring in.
Exactly.
Live and fight another day.
Just grab their weed and at least just stop the product from getting across.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But like you were saying, detainment, sitting them down and detaining them, not allowing them to freedom of movement is a citizen's arrest. You do not have to state that you're arresting them at the time. You can wait till it's a safe time to tell them. You don't have to start yelling out, "I'm arresting you," and
do we have to tell them in Spanish, or is it good enough to say it in English, even though they may not understand what you're saying?
I'm saying it in English. This is America.
I agree, but
I'm saying it in English. My laws are written in English.
I like that.
And so that's the way we teach it. We teach it that you can say it in your native tongue.
There's ways around it because if
I can see in court them coming and saying, well, I didn't understand what he was saying. I can already see that argument coming up.
Yeah, but the problem is, or the benefit for us is if we're catching them with the narcotics, all bets are off.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
You've committed the felony.
See, and it's not if during the time legally you're not able to detain or search a person, you could ask them. You mind emptying out your pockets.
We
they
can
do it or they don't do it.
We can tell them to empty out their pockets.
Oh, you could sit them down and if you think they're going to take off running, you say, hey, do you mind taking off your shoes?
I know we can, but we legally ask them is what I'm saying.
You're not telling them to do anything.
I'm just looking ahead. If you were in a courtroom, if it got that far, you were in a courtroom, what?
Your Fourth Amendment right protects you against illegal search and seizure, and we can ask them to empty pockets. They don't have to. If we feel that our life is in danger or there's imminent harm, they may actually have something.
Like you saw an outline of a pistol in their pocket.
Absolutely.
Then you could,
absolutely. We can search them for that. We can pat them down, but we can't force them to take shoes and check for needles underneath the soles or whatever they're going to do. And that's they have the same rights, even though they're here illegally. Right. They're covered by the same rights that we have. Kind of makes it hard to fight fair. But that's the way it goes.
That's good information.
At what point of the detainment, if there are we allowed to draw arms? If they're how far will they be able to reach if they have a gun on them? So pointed as, do they actually have to fire before we can bear arms?
If they have a weapon in the commission of a crime, you have the right to draw your weapon. It doesn't mean you have the right to fire.
Right.
You're going to step into a huge gray area. Yeah. Now, we may be covered and protected under Arizona Title 13, but even though they're illegal, they can sue you civilly. So you have to be real careful what you're doing against them.
My name's Batman.
So, it's a real gray area that we work in. All security personnel they skirt that same law every day that they're out on the job. So, and that's basically what we're doing is we're security officers that don't hold a post. So
the only difference though, if you are an off-duty officer who's out here doing the same stuff with us, they still follow the same guidelines as LEO.
Yeah, they're on duty 24/7 regardless. Another thing is if we, we're all probably not going to be together at the same time. If we do end up catching somebody, immediately call the authorities. Radio in where you are, give them your coordinates. Some of you guys probably have GPS. If you guys have smartphones, download the app right now.
What app is that?
You can just search for GPS apps
Oh yeah.
and get that, and it'll tell you. I mean, you can pinpoint it to within about 3 feet of where you are.
Do we have the authorities on standby?
All of us have or should have the numbers. If you don't have the numbers, get with some of us, and we'll get them to you. You need to have Pinell County, Maricopa County, BLM, and Border Patrol on standby at all times. And I believe right now, we're in Pinell County?
Yes.
Correct? You go down this way just a little bit, and we're in Maricopa County. Pinell and Maricopa, they'll overlap each other right in this area. So whichever one you happen to get a hold of, they'll both probably end up coming. It becomes a pissing match for who gets the biggest drug bust that day.
Well, and if you do go out, you always want to call the authorities and give them a heads up that you're out there.
Yeah, unfortunately,
If they don't go out with a helicopter and start,
Sure.
bum rushing you and not knowing who's got weapon.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have firearms.
yes.
you know.
Yes. So anytime they come out into the area, they're going to consider it a hot zone. They don't know who we are. They can't tell us apart from anybody else. They could be wearing exactly what we're wearing. So we need to identify ourselves immediately.
What do you do? What do you say to identify yourself? I'm an American citizen.
Just start spouting off, who you are, what you are, and make sure that your weapon's slung. You don't want to have a weapon drawn when they arrive, because they're, like I said, they're coming in hot already. Right. A lot of times they'll come out immediately. Sometimes it might not be immediately, and they'll just tell you to stand down and hold the position.
Just let them know you're armed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely. Even though they know we're armed, we still need to tell them when we call them.
Right.
The first thing I do is I say, I'm Minuteman ACS, I'm on your side.
There you go.
That's what you guys are claiming, Minutemen? Is that what
No.
No,
No?
Nope,
American Civil Sentinel.
Oh.
just
I'm
ACS.
Minuteman.
That's
Yep,
all you gotta do. Say
ACS.
ACS. You're with ACS. That's all you gotta do.
That's dope.
I guess you could say we're kind of a mix between a Minuteman and a militia. We're Minutemen with a little attitude.
Told you where you're going, bud.
Right on, guys.
So
Well,
the bottom line is out here we need to just follow the laws to the best of our ability and stay safe. Some of us are family men and married and kids, and the bottom line is we need to get home to them every single night, and we need to do that. And if we do something stupid, sitting in Tent City isn't going to get us home to them either.
definitely not.
So
And
Camping either way.
going to an early grave isn't
no,
Right on, gentlemen. Well, thank you for the lesson.
no problem.
Pleasure to see you guys
All right,
again.
guys, come on
Take care.
back, man.
Yeah, we'll see you.